Yoga is the process of untangling ourselves, of compassionately undoing all of the knots within us, releasing our patterns and setting ourselves free, coming home to who we really are. All levels are encouraged to join this practice. It includes an intermediate to advanced level split series. This is perfect before bedtime or after a strenuous workout, or anytime you just need to recenter and find peace within yourself. Let's get started. And sitting a couple of blocks to the side, coming into a nice easy seated child's pose, knees to the outsides of the mat, toes together, chest toward the floor. Forehead either on a block or on the mat. Hands stretched out in front of you or next to you, palms toward the ceiling. Reconnect with yourself. Deep breaths in and out through the nose, expanding the belly, bringing the awareness back to your inhalations and your exhalations every time your mind begins to wander elsewhere. Rolling to a seated position on an inhale, and bringing your palms to face toward the ceiling as your hands rest on your knees. Feeling a long line of strong energy running from the top of your head through your crown and into the floor through your spine. Inhaling, and as you exhale, come onto all fours. And then push yourself easily back into downward facing dog. And just walking out your dog here, releasing the day. Allowing all of the energy that we've been carrying today to circulate through us and release into the earth. This is a new moment. Letting the spine decompress. Letting the backs of the legs stretch out and open up. And inhaling, right leg raises high. Opening the hip, bending the knee, and bringing the foot sequentially down toward the heel, returning the foot to the ceiling. Inhaling in as you exhale, this time bending the knee in toward the chest, and then resting the leg on the floor, coming into a pigeon pose. Right knee to the right wrist, right ankle to the left wrist. Finding the modification that works for your body, so feel free to use a block under the hip here, and bring your ankle as close into the groin as you need to be able to fold forward. And settling into the pose, slowly beginning to fold forward at your own pace and bringing your forehead closer to the floor. You can also bring your forehead to a block again. And bringing your awareness once again back to the breath, deep inhales and exhales through the nose, expanding the diaphragm and breathing into a deeper stretch in the hip. Releasing the weight of anything that you do not need to carry into the earth. With each breath, releasing another 10%. On your next inhale, slowly begin to make your way back to a seated position. Shoulders down. Crown stretches tall toward the ceiling, and pushing into your knee and your ankle with your right and left hand. And on an exhale, taking a twist to the right by reaching for the right knee or for the floor behind you. At your own pace, begin floating the left foot toward you, stretching out the left quadricep, And coming into a mermaid pose, stretching the right hand toward the sky to meet the left hand, allowing the left foot to sit inside the left elbow. And feel free to stay right here and enjoy this stretch, or if it's within your practice, you can go ahead and rotate your shoulder, flipping your grip so that you're facing forward while holding your foot from behind. Being very good to our shoulders here and only going as far as we really feel comfortable at this point. Joining both hands to meet the feet and playing with different positions by releasing one hand and then the other, perhaps bringing the foot to the right shoulder or to the left shoulder, and then bringing the tips of the toes back to the crown, and with an engaged quadricep, slowly lowering the left foot toward the floor. If it's within your practice to do the splits, begin straightening out the right knee and opening up the legs into a splits. Wherever you are in your progress of splits is just wonderful, so go ahead and lean into this stretch wherever you are. Moving into a straddle position and leaning forward as far as you can, bringing the chest closer to the floor. Coming into a frog pose on the next inhale, bending the knees and bringing the chest up. Inhaling, knees straighten, straddle splits again. And on the next breath, twisting to the left and coming into the splits on the left side again, only if this is within your practice. Bend both knees as much as you need to. Folding forward on the next exhale. And coming back to a seated position. Shoulders squared toward the foot. And on your next inhale, coming back to a seated position and coming into a pigeon pose on the left side this time. Left knee comes to the left wrist, left ankle comes to the right wrist. And reaching tall through the crown, taking a nice twist to the left before facing forward again and folding towards the floor. Using a block to rest your head if you need, and releasing fully into the earth, bringing the awareness right back to the breath every time it wanders away, giving yourself permission to inhabit the now moment fully. And beginning to make your way back up to a seated position, crown lifts tall, shoulders down, and at your own pace, begin floating the right foot toward the right hand. Bending the right knee, opening up the right quadricep, taking a nice deep stretch in through the front of the leg, releasing the right hip flexor. Keeping the shoulders down away from the ears and rolled back. Spine is tall. Posture is confident. And bringing the right foot to the right elbow. Deep breath in and out through the nose. Shoulders down away from the ears. Chest opens wide. And the toes find a place in the right elbow. Left hand reaches toward the sky and clasps the right hand somewhere behind the head, feeling the stretch through the front body, allowing the right hip flexor to sink more deeply towards the floor. And if it's within your practice, feel free to flip your grip and rotate your shoulders on the left side, holding the foot with the right hand, and then with the left, and then with both, maintaining the strength of your breath as you breathe into this stretch. This is a wonderful way to practice opening your shoulders and flipping your grip on the floor before you transition to flipping your grip in a standing dancer pose. And on your next breath, releasing the back bend, releasing the right foot toward the floor, toes pointed, activating the quadricep in a controlled way, coming back into the splits on the left side, and then rotating right into a straddle. Flowing right to the right splits on the other side. Right palm on the floor, left hand floats toward the sky in a lateral stretch to the right once more before we bring the left foot back around. Reaching tall, folding forward, flexing the feet and feeling a deep stretch through the backs of the legs. And pointing the toes, folding a little more deeply into the stretch. Deep breath in and out through the nose, bringing awareness back to the breath from wherever it may be. Really releasing through the bottom of the spine, through the crown of the head. Inhaling and exhaling, reaching a little bit further towards the toes. Flexing the feet and coming to a seated position on the next breath. Articulating the feet and the toes, pointing and flexing the feet, rolling the ankles from the left to the right. Circulating the ankles and the lymphatic fluid in the joints of all the toes. And we're coming into a Padmasana puppy pose. So finding your Padmasana first, the backs of the feet, find the left and the right thighs, sitting tall, holding our knees, finding our posture, shoulders rolled down away from the ears, heart shines forward. Inhale, and as you exhale, begin finding your way forward, gently crawling your fingers out toward the front of your mat, bringing the chest toward the floor and the chin toward the floor, looking forward. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And on your next breath, begin crawling the fingers back, finding a seated position once more, folding forward, forehead toward the floor. And on your next inhale, rolling to a seated position, switching the feet so that the opposite foot is on top this time. Sitting tall, finding our posture, and on an exhale, folding forward into a Padmasana puppy pose, crawling the fingers out to the top of the mat, chin and chest finding the floor, looking forward. Breathe into this pose. Feel your power here. Feel the connection to the earth. And on your next breath, begin crawling back into a seated position, taking your time, stretching your legs out in front of you and folding forward. And coming to a seated position, pointing and flexing the feet one more time, raising the crown of the head tall before we find a fish pose. So coming to a reclined position, and if you have a block handy, go ahead and place it under your back where the shoulder blades meet. Flattening the shoulder blades against the back of the block, and opening the shoulders and the chest wide toward the ceiling, positioning your hands to find the place that's just right for you. Slowly and gently with no pain, activating the quadriceps, activating the legs, pointing the toes, and then releasing into the pose. Breathing deeply, allowing this pose to release the last bit of baggage you may be carrying from the day. And on your next breath, supporting the back of your head as you engage the abdominals and rock slowly to a seated position. Taking any last stretch that your body may need here before you find Savasana, rolling all the way down to the ground this time, palms toward the ceiling, feet stretched out in front of you, feeling supported by the earth, and checking in with yourself, integrating the work that you just did, feeling a deeper sense of clarity in the body, scanning the entire body, starting with the tips of the toes, moving across the tops of the feet, across the shins to the kneecaps, traveling up the tops of the thighs to the hips, bringing awareness to the solar plexus, traveling with your awareness to the sternum and the collarbone across the chest, to each shoulder and down to each elbow, traveling down to each wrist and bringing awareness to your hands, feeling energy in each fingertip. Awareness travels to your throat, up the chin, across the face. Energy touches the lips, your nose, your eyelids, and feeling energy and awareness in your eyeballs as your eyeballs sink deeply into the back of your head. Breathing in this fresh wave of awareness and energy that has traveled up your body, refreshing you, recentering you, and resetting you as the awareness and energy also travels to the top of your head, saturating your scalp, and now waterfalling, pouring down the front and back of your body, back down to your toes, flushing energy down into the earth that no longer serves you out of your system entirely. And inhaling fresh waves of prana, saturating the entire body. Exhaling any energy that does not serve you out through the bottoms of your feet. Inhaling another fresh wave of prana, saturates the entire system. And exhaling, releasing that which does not serve you any longer. Inhaling fresh waves of prana. Exhaling any energy that no longer serves. And at your own pace, rolling over to the left side and slowly coming to a seated position. And if you're looking for a short beginner class to help you feel grounded and unbothered, then check this one out.